Hi, this is something new. Uh, Safe to say, I haven't done something like this in quite some time, so we're trying something new. Uh, I haven't had a computer for quite a long time, so I haven't really been able to make things, and it's something that I've wanted to do for some time. And in that gap, I have found myself getting more and more into playing TEW, and you see all these channels that do TEW series, and they do uh, TEW saves and everything, and I look at them and I think, yeah, I don't think I am the kind of person who can do a well booked series, at least not at the moment. So what I am going to do is we are in the 1987 Supermod, uh, with thanks to my friend Brad Drake who makes it. And what we are going to do is we're going to look at a bit of alternative history. So this mod is, quite frankly, the most up to date mod I have ever seen. So let's have a little play and see some of the things in the world, right? We'll start with the big daddy of them all, obviously, the WWF. Um, so, as you can see, we got Vince McMahon the owner, Vince McMahon the booker. The figurehead is Hulk Hogan, who is also a major star. You've got Andre the Giant, also a major star. In fact, let's look at their roster for a moment. We'll set their roster by perception of major star. So Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan are their two big major stars. Then if you look at their star, they've got Bruno and Randy Savage. Bruno is he's still active by the looks of this. Yeah, he's an occasional wrestler. Let's run down their roster a little bit more. Well known: Adrian Adonis, Blackjack Mulligan, Bob Orton. We're not going to run down everybody in there. We're not going to run down everybody on every roster. What we're going to do is we're just going to look at the main players of WWF, because what we'll do is I will, for this episode at least, I'll go away after I've recorded this segment that I'm talking to you guys about. I will go away and then I will return at the end of the year, the start of 1988, because this mod starts in May of 1987. So then every time we come back in a new episode, we'll start at January the 1st of the next year, and we'll run this if I can. I don't know if this is even going to work, but this is my first episode. We're going to try it. A year an episode. We'll run through what's happened in the preceding year, and then do apologise. As I say, it's very much bare bones what we're doing here. We're going to run through the what's happened in the year, major transfers, wrestler of the year, stuff like that. And then we will see Superstar Billy Graham there. We will see what's happened in the year, who went where. Maybe Hogan will go to WCW earlier, maybe not. Will Bret Hart go to WCW in 1996? Will Bill Goldberg end his career? I don't know. We'll find out when we get to that year. Will the screw job happen? Stuff like that. And we'll just have a little play with it. And then if you like these, you can let me know what you want me to look at in coming years, or even what you want me to look at in the next video, because I can always jump back a couple of years to see how things are going. So as we'll continue our quick run down the WWF, we got Billy Graham and Ted DiBiase, who are both stars, who are well known. I've got a bit of a cough at the moment, so. But Arnold Scarlett, B. Brian Blair, Big John Studd, Billy Red Lyons. So as you can see, WWF's got their 1987 roster from May. There's the Fabulous Moolah there. There's Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon at the age of 41 in 1987. Considered. recognisable. And then obviously unimportant is mostly going to be everyone. Is going to be everyone else, including some of the jobbers. Bill Anderson, Bill Howard, Reinigans. There's Bruce Pritchard. And then you got a lot of their jobbers that they had on roster down here. Jerry Monty. So yeah, that's the WWF. Now we'll have a quick look at their current champions. The Intercontinental Champion is Steamboat, the King of the Ring. Last won by Harley Race in 1986. So they haven't done the King of the Ring for 1987 yet, because it is in July. So that hasn't happened yet. The Royal Rumble hasn't happened in this save yet. So that, in fact, the Royal Rumble is held each January starting in 1988. So we won't find out about a winner of the Royal Rumble until we get into 1989, because we're going to start in early January of every year. So we won't find out about the first Royal Rumble until we get to 1989. The Women's Champion, currently held by Velvet McIntyre, the Spider there. Well, we know who that was. Yep. The women's title held by Fabulous Moolah, formerly held by Velvet McIntyre, and then the Spider, who we know who that was. Women's tag team titles, currently with Judy Martin and Leilani Kai. Obviously, the World Heavyweight Champion with Hogan, but as many people who have played this game will tell you, if you that doesn't always, Hogan doesn't hold the title in TEW as long as he did in real life. So we will definitely have I would imagine we'll have a new world champion by the time we get to the end of 1987, but we will find out when we get there. And then, of course, you've got the World Tag Team Championships here, held by Brett and Jim, the Hart Foundation, who won it off the Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid, the British Bulldogs, in January of this year that we are in now. So that's the WWF. We will have a quick look at some of the other places we've got. WWA in Mexico. You've got WWA, the other one, run by Dick the Bruiser. You've got WWWA, which is a small independent promotion in Pennsylvania. Currently hasn't got an owner, so that'll be getting an owner. It's also got about half a dozen people on the roster. If we look here, Tony Atlas, Bam Bam Bigelow, the Barbarian, Dino Sana, Misty Blue and the Warlord. Apologies for my voice. I really don't have the voice for this at the moment. WOW, set up in Japan here. This is another one in the southeast here, look. And then we've got World Class, which is the Fritz von Erich family firm, run in Texas. This is the Texas promotion. I have had many a save where I've played as the Texas promotion. The Von Erichs are like a bloody cheat code in this game. And I'll tell you, we've got Windy City Wrestling, you got Wild West. I'll tell you another company on this that is I have enjoyed playing this. If you've watched Young Rock, and it talks about his childhood with all those stars, the Young Rock is set roughly around the time of this, and so I've had good fun playing with the Hawaii promotion. Bloody hard as balls though to do the Hawaiian promotion. Maybe we'll get to that one day in the future, if this sort of thing. Here they are. Here's Jim Crockett Promotion. What's left of the NWA. Obviously, they've got the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup, the United States Heavyweight Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship, which obviously must have been the big gold belt at this point. It's not the world title I like for the NWA, but hey, we are in 1987. Obviously, there's Flair. Now, will Flair be in Jim Crockett Promotions when we come back in 1988? I sincerely doubt it, but you never do know. You never do know. Manny Fernandez and Rick Rude there. And Tully Blanchard with the Television Championship. What was the other company I like to look at? We've got Japanese women pro wrestling here. We've got the IWF, the ICW. We've got Glow. Obviously, there's the TV show on Netflix of Glow that was based loosely around this. But obviously, there's Glow. You've got I've got it set to unimportant, haven't I? Yeah. If we look at Glow, if you didn't watch the actual Glow and you haven't looked into the real life Glow, but you've watched the Netflix TV series, there's your Alison Brie character. Colonel Ninchoka is the character that they played off for Zoya the Destroyer. And Americana, I believe, is the one who they played off for Betty Gilpin's character, the all-American character. So the more you know. But obviously, you got Deep South in this, run by Jodie Hamilton. That's Nick Patrick's dad. For anybody of my age group. Here's Memphis Wrestling, Continental Wrestling Association. I'll tell you, Jerry Lawler and Austin Idol in this promotion are a bit like a cheat code as well. You go into this and you've got two guys with nearly impossible to beat pop, who you put in a match with anybody and they pull off fantastic matches. Whatever your opinions are of Jerry the King Lawler. But, so here's all of the promotions. British Wrestling Federation, a bit close to my heart, this one. From before my time, because I was only born in the early 90s, but I've loved playing this one. I've loved playing this one before, obviously, with a owner from Wales, the country I'm from. Anyway, so what we're going to do now, we've looked at some of the rosters, we've looked at some of the wrestlers. We'll have a quick look at alliances. The National Wrestling Alliance has got all of these people in it. All Japan Women's, All-Star Pro, Central States, Championship Wrestling from Florida. So there's a lot of intertrading there. But what I think you will find is some of the smaller companies will be taken over by the WWF throughout the first year and so. So We'll keep a track. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 12 in the NWA. There probably won't be when we come back. And there's 3 here in this alliance, which is an alliance of the AWA, the CWA, and the WCWA. I think that's sort of like an anti-NWA alliance kind of thing. As I say, I didn't get into wrestling until 2000, so this is a little bit out of my time. So when we get into the Attitude Era, and it will be different, I assure you, we'll see what the world looks like. But that brings to a temporary close for now. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to sim the game. Oh, just for the sake of telling you, I am playing as the mystery man, Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget. And you're probably wondering why I've set myself as Dr. Claw, because he doesn't exist in the real world and I don't want to get a job anywhere. So I just want him to exist in the background and observe. And that's what he is. He's observing, Dr. Claw. So, again, I do apologise for my throat. Oh, there he is. There's Dingo Warrior. I wonder if he's going to do anything ultimate in his career. We'll have to wait to find out. But I'm gonna nip off now, and I will come back to you in a couple of seconds, and we'll be in 1988 because we've got half a year to sim. It's going to take me a while, but it won't take you very long. So I'll see you in January of 1988. Enjoy your festive season, folks. Hi. So for you, it's been couple of seconds. For me, it's been a couple of hours. So let's have a look at the world. As you can see, we are now in January 1988. So 8 months has passed. Sorry, not 6. 8 months has passed, and let's have a look at the lay of the land in January the 1st, 1988. We'll start out with Wrestler of the Year being Ric Flair. Ric Flair is Wrestler of the Year, top of the Power 500. And let's have a look at Company of the Year. Well, blow me down. Company of the Year is Jim Crockett Promotions. That's usually WWF. So something has happened, and I'm sure we will find out as we go through. Team of the Year is... it's Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart. So, Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart, Team of the Year. Let's see what Match of the Year was. Match of the Year was Rick Rude and Manny Fernandez versus the Rock and Roll Express on a live event tour for the NWA. So we'll have a look into that as well. In fact, let's have a quick look into that now. It was... what does it say? It was live event tour 186. So let's have a look at that. Live event tour 186. When was that? That was 186. It's somewhere down here. 186, just somewhere between the Great American Bash and Starrcade. So just randomly, somewhere in the middle of... we'll have a look at it anyway. 186. That's this one here. In front of 6,100 people. In front of 6,100 people at the Winthrop Coliseum in North Carolina on week 4 of August. It was sold out, and it was a 96 show. And you had Ronnie Angle defeating Mike Nichols in the pre-show. Art Pritz versus Alan Fox. Keith Steinborn and Eddie Roberts. The White Knight defeated Tommy Angel. Johnny Ace and the Mod Squad defeated the Italian Stallion and the Thunderfoots. That's quite a low mid-card. But then what you've got here, look, you've got Denny Brown and Bill Irwin. You've got Lightning Express defeating the Kansas Jayhawks. You've got Barry Windham defeating Alan Martin in a cage. Ron Garvin defeating Black Bart. And here's your match there. Rude and Fernandez defeated the Rock and Roll Express to defend the NWA World Tag Titles in a 100 rated match. But if that hadn't been the best match, this one went far off, because Ric Flair defeating Big Bubba Rogers to retain the NWA World Title. But while we're thinking about stuff like that, we will nip back to here and look at Show of the Year, which was AJPW Summer Action Series Tour 8. Young Wrestler of the Year, Kensuke Sasaki. The Veteran Wrestler of the Year is Terry Funk. And the Female Wrestler of the Year, well, that's Chigusa Nagayo. Independent Wrestler of the Year, Dory Funk Jr. Then you got your Manager of the Year, Bobby Heenan. Announcer of the Year is Ichiro Futachi. Who does he work for? He works for New Japan. Colour commentator, Heenan. Referee, Hebner, Earl. And then you've got stuff like Akira Tare coming up and the year end for NJPW. But what we want to do now is let's have a look at who is working for the main companies. During this year, WWA Mexico went bankrupt because they had a couple of financial warnings there and then they went bankrupt. So let's have a look at the world of wrestling. We don't want to go to that one. Let's put these in order of size. The biggest company in the world is WWF. They've got 95 million in the bank. And let's look at their champions. The Intercontinental Champion has changed hands once since we were last here. Ricky Steamboat defended it 77 times and then lost it to King Kong Bundy. The King of the Ring appears not to have happened, because the last King of the Ring, it looks like there wasn't a King of the Ring. At least not the tournament. We haven't got to a Royal Rumble yet. The Women's Champion is now Leilani Kai. Now, Moolah had it when we last saw her. She lost it 2 weeks later. to Joyce Grable, and Joyce Grable held it for 35 defences between May and August, and then lost it to Leilani Kai. The women's tag titles are the Jumping Bomb Angels. Who had it when we were last here? It was these, Judy Martin and Leilani Kai, who had it for... That shows you women's wrestling in the WWF in 1987. Judy Martin and Leilani Kai had the championships for 2 years and defended them once and then lost them to the Jumping Bomb Angels. We'll skip over the world title for now and we'll look at the tag titles. When we were here, they were with Brett and Jim. They lost them in December after 39 defences to Bob Orton and Greg Valentine. But I know what we're all thinking. We're all wondering, did Hogan carry the title? That's what you're screaming. That's what you want to know. Does Hogan still have the world title? He does not. Randy Savage has the world title. Hogan lost the title in September of 1987 to Randy Savage. Now what we want to find out is what show was that. So we'll look at Randy Savage's match history and we'll see where Randy Savage won the title. We're going to look for also involving Hulk Hogan, because he didn't win the title without Hogan involved. He retained it here at Primetime Wrestling, and he defeated Hulk Hogan to retain it there at Houston Wrestling, and there. So when did he win it? Here, Randy Savage defeated Hulk Hogan for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship at Primetime Wrestling in September. So it wasn't on a major pay-per-view, it was on Primetime Wrestling. But, as we do know, WWF don't have many pay-per-views in 1987, because if we go to View Profile and look at their events, they've got a hell of a lot of TV, and then their pay-per-view events, well, they haven't really got them. They've got Rumble, they've got the Royal Rumble here, they're doing a lot of live event tours. They've got Saturday Night's Main Event 10 there, WrestleMania is there. Shall we have a look at WrestleMania? Actually, yeah, shall we have a look and see if we've had a WrestleMania? We haven't, because we started in May. Main Event 11 there. What we want to look at is the Big Four, don't we? I think we want to look at the Big Four. So, let's look at the Big Four. King of the Ring. What happened here? King of the Ring is supposed to be in July. Why didn't it happen? Why didn't the King of the Ring happen? I have no idea why we don't have any recent results for the King of the Ring. There should be a King of the Ring, but there wasn't. I don't know why. Unless it starts this year, maybe. Saturday Night's Main Event here. No, we're looking for Survivor Series, aren't we, really? Nope, Survivor Series hasn't started yet. So, SummerSlam starts in 88, so we'll have a SummerSlam next time we come back. There's Survivor Series, and it hasn't happened yet. Must be something that starts this year. So, looks like there's hardly any pay-per-views. We haven't had a WrestleMania and we haven't had a Rumble yet. But we are now in 1988. But WWF isn't all of wrestling. I know Vince McMahon would like you to think that. But let's have a look at Jim Crockett Promotions, because that was the company of the year. So we need to know what they've been up to. They have had a Jim Crockett Memorial Cup won by Koloff and Rhodes. They've got a United States Heavyweight Champion of Ron Garvin. Now, when did he win the belt? When we were last here, Nikita Koloff had the championship. He lost it in June of 87, and then Dusty Rhodes lost it in November of 87, and it's now on Ronnie Garvin. We got the United States Tag Team Championship, Jimmy Garvin and Ronnie Garvin. So Ronnie Garvin's got 2 belts, and Owen Hart has 3 Slammies. But we've got he probably doesn't actually. We got Ivan Koloff and Vladimir Petrov here. They were the tag champions up until 1987 when they lost it to the Garvins. Skip over the world title. You know what we do. Right, so Manny Fernandez and Rick Rude have had the belts for 8 months. Actually, even longer, because they won them in December of 1986. The World Television Championship is on Lex Luger. He won it in November of 87 after 98 defences by Tully Blanchard. And then the World Championship is Barry Windham. Ric Flair on his 6th title reign. 112 defences between August of 1986 and December of 1987. 112 defences. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it, Roman Reigns. Barry Windham defeated him and has held the championship for 13 days since December. So we'll have to check back and see if Barry Windham has still got the title when we return. Now, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of England because I live here. So let's have a look at joint promotions in England, because I need to know if Big Daddy is still going. I need to know these things. Big Daddy, how many matches have you had this year, sir? Absolutely bloody loads. More matches in this year than you had in your actual career. But looks like he's having average sort of thing here. A lot of tag matches. That's what he did. Owen Hart's working for joint promotions in England. So Owen Hart's working in England. There he is. If you wanted to check up on Owen Hart, there he is. The Bomber Pat Roach. And I think... no, he's not here. Where are you? Let's find you. I want to see what you're up to, Steven Regal. Because I always check in on Steven Regal. There he is. There's our boy, Steven Regal. Lord Steven Regal. He's only a kid at this point. He's working for ASW, UWA. And he looks like he's being a jobber a little bit. Regal and Fury there. So he's winning some matches here. Has he had any belts this year? He has. The NWA Pacific Northwest Tag Team Champion. Oh, that was in the early 80s. No, he hasn't done anything since the early 80s. So Steven Regal hasn't done anything this run. But he has got a bit of pop in America. So it looks like Steven Regal is coming to America a hell of a lot earlier than he did in the real world. Because he's working for the UWA. The Universal Wrestling Federation out of Mexico. And he's got some pop over in the US and Mexico because of that. Now, what else do we want to check in on? I still don't have a job. So we'll check in on... let's check in on... what do we want to check in on? Yeah, I said we'd check in on what companies have gone out of business. That's what we want to find out, don't we? Companies that are inactive. World Wrestling Association of Mexico went bust in December of 87. Polynesian Pacific Wrestling, I did say they very rarely end. They very rarely exist. They were taken over in October 1987 by the WWF. So the WWF took over the Hawaiian company. WWA, the World Wrestling Association of Dick the Bruiser, that went out in August of 1987. And CCW, Continental Championship Wrestling, Ron Fuller's company, went in September. The WWF bought bought 3 companies and let WWA Mexico go to the wall. So we will check in again next time when we come back. But the last thing we want to look at... if there's anything that anybody wants us to look at, we can look at that. Let's look at size again. New Japan is the 3rd biggest company. Let's just look at their titles. I don't know much about Japan, but In June of '87, Masa Saito won the International the IWGP. The IWGP Heavyweight Champion is Masa Saito. I've said his name two different ways. Nobuhiko Takada lost in '86 to Shiro Koshinaka. You've got Bam Bam Bigelow and Johnny Smith are the tag team champions of IWGP. They won it in August of '87. The Japan Cup Tag League was won in December by George Takano and Kentaro Hoshino. And you've got the Super Junior Cup, which appears not to have happened yet. And we might as well look at All Japan, see who they've got, see what's going on in All Japan. All Japan have got the All Asia Tag Team Champions. Won them in October. Then you've got the Champion Carnival, the Junior Heavyweight title, World's Strongest Tag Team, Kuniaki Kobashi, Carl von Steiger. The World Championship is Dory Funk Jr. Oh, that's right. What you've got here in All Japan is you've got the 3 different championships that ended up making up the Triple Crown. It's not actually the Triple Crown yet. So, Dory Funk Jr.'s got a belt. And then you got the Malenko brothers there as tag team champions. So, we'll see more occur in different companies as we go through. Let's have a quick look at the news. Let's look at the news section. We don't want events. Has anybody died? That's the first thing we want to find out. We want to see if anybody has died. Mighty Igor. Commiserations to the family of Mighty Igor, but I don't know who you are. Let's look at relationships. This can always be fun. Sam Reynolds has broken up with his partner. Rikishi Fatu has married an unknown woman. Jimmy Garvin is no longer friends with Manny Fernandez. Lord Alfred Hayes got divorced. Salvador Belamo has found somebody he's dating. Rocky Harter has been divorced. You've got John Evans. Anybody special? The Dazzler and Ron Powers are dating. You've got Rick Rude has married his wife, I would assume. The Iron Sheik's dating somebody. Sam Houston divorced Baby Doll. Pete Doherty, not that one, is divorced. Moondog Spot got divorced as well. Lots of divorces, guys. Johnny Kidd and Donna Marie are an item. So maybe we'll see some fun things. I've had previous saves where Stephanie McMahon hooks up with CM Punk, so it would be interesting to see if something like that were to happen. NWF joined the other alliance that isn't the NWA. What else have we got? Have we got any retirements? Yeah, we've got some retirements. Jim Barnett retires from wrestling. 10 years early. Bull Ramos, Kentaro Oki, Dick the Bruiser will be retiring in 3 months. Well, he's gone now. Orig Williams retiring. Killer Kowalski retires. Farmer Boy Epo. Jerry Graham, Swede Hansen, Lou Thez, King Kong Kirk. Anybody major that we want to look at? I see Brian Goldbelt Maxime going in 87. Jim Breaks. The less we say about you, the better. Les Thatcher, Jake Millman. Anybody early? Mick McManus, Killer Kowalski, Paul Bosch. There's quite a few people going. Gory Guerrero, Lou Albano. So quite a few people have now retired. So we'll have to have a look and see what that means for the world of wrestling when we get to 1989. Let's look at new workers briefly. New workers who came in 1987. Marcella, Carl Kramer, Superboy, Gary Nations, Mickey Handa, Pequeno Samurai, Balls Mahoney. Do you have a job yet? You don't. That may not change. Carl Ouellette, working for AGPW. Francis Jenkins. Malia Hosaka. George Hines. Manami Toyota. AJW, All Japan Women's. Jimmy Ocean, that's Ricky Knight's tag team partner. And there's Taz, everybody. Tasmaniac. And he currently doesn't have a job. So it'd be nice to see what happens with the Tasmaniac. I'm going to dump him on a short list, just in case. See what happens with Tasmaniac. See if he has a career. As he currently doesn't have a job, but there is no ECW yet. We are only in 1987. In fact, has he had any matches? That's something we want to look at. Let's look at his match history. He hasn't. He debuted in... When did he debut? He debuted in July of 1987 and has yet to wrestle. So we'll have to look back and see what happens with him going forward, of course. Now, the last thing I think... Let's look at head bookers. Has anything changed in head bookers? Zoltan Bosic took over PPUK. John Fremantle owns it, and then he put Zoltan Bosic in charge. Dino Sana. Miguel Perez Sr. is running JPSOW. Ted Heath, ASPW. Bob Orton Sr., that's Randy's granddad, is running NWA Central States. Dutch Mantel's running Deep South. That's about the most appropriate person I could see being in charge of that. Robert Fuller at PWA. So not a whole lot really to go on. But, as I said, Hulk Hogan lost the championship in 1987 to Randy Savage. So we're already ahead of the game. No changes in ownership here. Vince is still the owner of WWF. Yep. And the owner of Jim Crockett is probably still Jim Crockett. Yes, it is. But Dusty Rhodes is booking for him, as he probably did. Ric Flair's been off all over the place on loans. But as we know, Barry Windham is their world champion right now. So, I think that brings to an end our trip into 1987. Because we are now in January of 1988. So, let me know what you want to see in... oh, I know what we want to do. We want to have a look at Memphis, don't we? We nearly forgot to look at the CWA in Memphis. Jerry Lawler's still booking and is still the figurehead. The world champion, the Southern Heavyweight Champion is Austin Idol. The tag champions are Roy Lee Welsh and Chick Donovan. The International Heavyweight Championship is on Lawler. The International Tag Team is on the Bushwhackers. So, did they move? Did they move, or were they always there? Let's look at their match history to find out. Have the Bushwhackers always been there? They have always been there, it looks like. Looks like they haven't gone to the WWF yet. No, doesn't seem like they've gone to the WWF yet. So the Bushwhackers are yet to go to WWF, so they are probably actually the sheep herders at the moment. And there's the Rock's father, Rocky Johnson, as the NWA Mid-America Champion. It is worth checking. Has anybody left WWE that we want to look at? Adrian Adonis, Al Navarro. Let's have a quick run down their roster. What's Andre been up to all year? Andre the Giant has had a handful of matches in 1987. He defeated Rick Martel. And then he had a Heenan family match. Beat Bob Backlund. So Andre hasn't done much in 87. Who else have we got? Angie Minelli, who seems like she's new. Arnold Scarland isn't a wrestler. Is there anybody here who looks to be out of place? There's Bret Hart. What's he been up to? Mostly tag teaming. Yep. Bret Hart's been the tag champion for ages, but look at those matches. Look at all those 99s. Bret Hart is an absolute stud in 1987. Absolute bloody stud he is. So they brought in a lot of women by the looks of things. There's Axe and Smash. Hang on, if that's the Dynamite Kid, where's Davey Boy Smith? They were here in December. Davey Boy Smith still here? No, he's still there. I've missed him somehow. Yeah, there he is. Is anybody left that is important to note? Search on the news for any type of worker leaving. Right. Yep. People who have left WWF. Killer Khan. Bruno Sammartino. Tom Zenk. Ivan Putski. Jim Barnett. Nick Kaniski and Missy Hyatt. Let's see where Bruno went. Bruno went to All Japan Pro Wrestling. So Bruno, who is still occasionally wrestling, has yet to wrestle for All Japan, but is signed for All Japan and being paid $204,000 per month on an exclusive written contract. So All Japan have got more money than God, because they're paying Bruno Sammartino $204,000 and they haven't used him, and he's been there. And he's been there since November. So they've paid him nearly £500,000 and haven't used him. Anyway, so let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at that screen for Jim Crockett Promotions. Because I do, as we get deeper into this save, more and more people will be leaving from the companies and going elsewhere. Right, Sandy Scott. Mike Rotundo walks out. Mike Rotunda is in CWF. Magnum TA is unemployed. Robert Fuller, I can see an important one coming up. There's Terry Funk. Terry Funk's gone back to Japan. Earl Hebner has gone to WWW. The Road Warriors appear to have gone. Now, have the Road Warriors gone together? Hawks in WWF. And so is Animal, so that's a relief. The Road Warriors are still together. Dick Murdoch's gone. Wahoo McDaniel has gone. He doesn't have a job. Baron von Raschke. He hasn't got a job either. Bob Armstrong. Bob Armstrong is now in CWF and JPSOW as the Bullet. That's Road Dogg's dad. And Giant Barber is back in AJPW. He must have been he was on a loan period through the NWA. So, I think that's enough. If I've missed anything, there is Stampede. If I've missed anything that you want me to focus on next time we pop in, let me know. At the time of recording this, though, I am recording this ahead of having having surgery, so I may not be quite timely with this. Kevin Von Erich's still got the title in Texas, by the way, so not much has changed there. So yeah, basically I will see you the next time we do one of these. So thanks for popping in, and I hope you've enjoyed yourself. I'll see you when I see you, which will be at the start of 1989. See you later.